Now let's cover some good points. Hello and welcome to Fox Yorkshire Views. This is part 2 of 3 of a series covering the BBC documentary series Who Decides regarding transgender children transitioning. Now, the first thing I want to cover in this video, rather than the discussion regarding the research, is actually what it means. In this video, we'll cover the pathway that was being presented and what some of the other research I felt was more positive. So, the standard practice is actually to use hormone blockers. Now, this doesn't actually mean someone transition, it actually puts a pause on it. This particular treatment is nothing new. So things like early onset puberty is one of them, where you might have some children that actually start showing signs of puberty well before a normal age, for example, maybe 4, 5 or 6. So these will be used just to put a pause on it, so then you can actually delay it until an appropriate time. So in this case, if someone is having transgender desires that they would want to transition medically, it actually means it puts a stop on any physical transition rather than having growth in a negative direction, which might actually impact the rest of their life. And this is the first thing I wanted to really cover, is that the outcomes of a puberty is something that will be enduring for someone's whole life. So just to say that the child doesn't have the ability to choose is actually quite dangerous, because the impact of those choices would have very long-lasting effects. So in this case, it gives the time to put a pause on it so you can make a rational decision. And I think this is very important, so you can have that time and you can have that exploration. This brings me on to one of the positive points I've had regarding the actual documentary, which was covered in the last third, which actually talked about brain development and differences. So rather than having a male brain and a female brain, you would actually have a continuum, like when you have the gingerbread figure regarding kind of male and female and the different presentations. So rather than having an A or a B, you actually have a spread. And this also then draws into things like non-binary and having the non-fixed gender presentations. And this is what I think is really important. It drew a lot on society and how society's view affected. It was actually used some interesting language. Even the Dr. Feature made a statement that some parents said, well, at least my child's not gay, basically stating that they were outside the social norm. And I think this is very important. With having a society that had more openness towards different presentations, I think this could be very beneficial and more accepting. So this comes back to the gender play in the previous video, where you don't necessarily have to have a medical transition to present as a certain identity, or if you want to change between the two. And I think that's very important, that you have that freedom of expression. And I do think society does play a role in how children develop and how society treats people. Everyone has the right to be treated fairly and genuinely, and this which you liked about the documentary. So I don't think it was all bad, I just think it's very poorly made. And at least if you're going to cover the topics, at least cover them fully, rather than only presenting half an argument then a full argument for another side, which arguably by the masses has been discredited. Very much like the MMR vaccine, the one doctor linking autism with MMR, that whole research was completely debunked, even though there was long-lasting effects in with society, with children not having certain injections, then picking up certain diseases later that they weren't immune to. And this is why I think when I end this one, just that I think having a positive space where people can explore their identity, whether they want to have a physical transition or not, or they want to just explore the possibility, having open spaces, at least having society which will listen, I think is very important. Thank you very much for watching. There'll be one final part of this video series, and as always, please subscribe.